anything to do with the mystical value of the Trinity?
Yeah, and it is a transcendental number in mathematics, pi. That's one of the ways that they describe it, even within mathematics. So, 3.14
Dot,
is
dot, dot, all the way to infinity, because it's really, like Mark was saying, it's not the actual number. It's an approximation of that which we're talking around right now.
So almost everything is approximation. What we call science.
Well,
Yeah.
again, it comes back to what we were talking about yesterday about there's like ideal forms and then what grows organically. I mean, you could say that. At the same time, it's interesting because the decimal of pi goes on forever, right? It goes to infinity. And supercomputers have been calculating digits of pi. And you could go on the internet right now and print out 50 pages, in tiny font of digits of pi, right? But with just 3.14, you can build all sorts of things that are extremely accurate, right? So again, 3.14 is a decimal approximation of what pi is. But again, what is pi? So let's step back for a minute and look at, we're going to do some basic geometry 101, take you back to middle school and high school, all right? So the distance of a line from the center point of a circle to the circumference is the radius. When you're drawing with the compass, you get to choose what that radius is, right? You create a center point, you choose a radius, and then that defines the circle, okay? And that radius could be a centimeter, a foot, a mile, a light year. And the relationship between center and circumference is going to be the same. It's all those points that are equal around there. Right?
Is it the diameter times 3.14?
Yes.
The diameter.
Okay. Now we're getting there. Now she just said the diameter, whatever the diameter is, again, whether it's an inch or a foot or a mile, that times pi, or the approximation 3.14, is going to give you what?
The circumference.
The circumference. Okay? So what that means is that pi is a relationship, pi is a ratio, just like the golden ratio. It's another extremely important ratio that exists in math and geometry, right? That cultures all over the planet have been looking at, and mathematicians have been obsessed with since antiquity. Right? Because it's this mystical relationship in any circle. Doesn't matter what size you have. And again, the circle is an important geometry because it's symbolic of heaven. So to understand the geometry of the circle, one has to understand this ratio. And it wasn't always known. Some of the first writing about it is actually in the Old Testament, because Solomon, out in front of the temple, created this large vessel, this large metal vessel that was round.
For washing hands.
I'm not sure what the
I
purpose...
think it was a form of purification, but, yeah.
And in...
Maybe it was for washing something, maybe it was for water.
Yeah, and like you said, maybe it had some ritual, purification.
Yeah, I honestly
I
don't.
think it was to wash your hands, to rinse your hands with water in a ritualistic way.
And it was huge. And they actually refer to it as a seed, I think. But it was cast out of metal, and they talk about the relationship because when they talk about the Temple of Solomon, they're very detailed about all the measurements.
Right.
So they're talking about that the line around it is about 3 times the line across it. Okay? And so that's what we're talking about here. It's the ratio of the diameter to the circumference, right? And the ratio in every single circle in the universe, it doesn't matter what size it is always pi, or approximately 3.14. So mathematicians have understood this in every culture on the planet. All the ancient cultures were studying pi.
So just in terms of the math of it, if we're going to call this whole diameter, and of course we could draw the diameter any way we wanted to, but if we say this whole diameter is unit 1, okay, so we'll put a 1 there, then that circumference is going to be equal to approximately 3, or 3.14. So that, as y'all were saying, actually all of you, and also Solomon, it's that this whole circumference is approximately 3 times this diameter in any circle ever.